Of my first day with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, 3 hours were spent in tutorialization, and upon landing, I was left with a breadth of things to do. Shrines every which way, the promise of a new horse, the ever-present need to collect every Korok seed. Yaha! The sheer cacophony of events vying for my attention was immense. It was exhilarating. A stable drew my attention, along with its adorable doggy and the even more adorable beetle. Then, as I'm on my way to deliver yet another Korok to their friend, I find my new favorite character, the absolute ignoramus Addison. This beautiful man is the absolute worst at making signs, and it's Link's job to keep them steady. These make for some incredibly enjoyable physics puzzles. I stumble across an area designed for inter-monster fighting, and after letting them duke it out for a bit, I decide to get Link's hands dirty. It goes, well. At this point I continue exploring, but the lack of a glider begins to get to me, especially after exploring and then quickly exiting this particular cave. I realized the absurdity of Link carefully climbing down the edge to reach the ground safely. This must change. So I start heading towards the main goal. Surely, actually doing what the game intends for me to do will grant me what I want. But before I arrive, I'm first distracted by a shrine. Initially, it's no problem, but my lack of intuition for the controls quickly becomes a problem. I have yet to figure out how to rotate objects being carried with Ultra Hand. This results in some infuriating physics-based problem solving. I miraculously get it through, but it is in no way the intended solution. Finally, Link arrives at the main hub for Tears of the Kingdom, Lookout Landing. After being greeted by a cast of characters, he runs into the most substantial, at least in terms of fan art. Beforehand, I was familiar with her design from Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, but that still didn't prepare me for this. The young protege Josha calls out, "Dr. Pura," and I'm dumbstruck with only one thought. Oh no, she's hot. She assigns Link with the quest to go look for Zelda. I get distracted a bit on the way, hello there Addison and Korok, but eventually run into obviously real Zelda. Yeah, she's floating in the air and disappears into a ball of light, but it's probably her, nothing to be worried about. On the way back is a testament to my short-term memory. I once again run into a crystal refinery. I will not commit this to memory. And then I run into a statue mysteriously moaning the word pose. This, too, will not be committed to memory. After seeing totally real, not spooky Zelda during the cool new Blood Moon cutscene, I finally received the item I've been looking for. Hot 130-plus-year-old Dr. Lady Pura grants Link the glider before shooting him thousands of feet into the air to collect map data. This whole cutscene rocks. I love that the Guardians have been repurposed to attach the appropriate gear onto Link. I love the very tactile tech of the propulsion mechanism being a big balloon. How visceral it feels for Link to be shot through the tall Sheikah tube. And of course the animation that plays where both Link and myself bask in the beauty of this Hyrulean landscape from the sky. It's a truly great moment, one to be experienced in each corner of the world. Afterwards, Pura introduces the main conceit of the game. There are 4 regions with strange activities going on, and Link should probably go and investigate them. But of course, the first thing I did was jump into the big hole. And what a hole it is. After Ganondorf was awoken, these big holes leaking gloom appeared all around the world, and jumping in is truly amazing. The marketing for Tears of the Kingdom focused largely on how Link would be able to travel to islands floating in the sky. But there was no mention that Link would be able to explore the vast underground known as the Depths of Hyrule. It was wild finding out that not only was there the sky and the ground, but a whole third layer of the underground, truly making this The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Get it? T-I-E-R? Get it? While the concept of a third additional layer to explore is a super cool premise, in practice though, I didn't like it as much as I'd have wished. The sheer darkness of this world, Link literally not being able to see the fingers before his face, is absolutely sick as hell. But aside from collecting bombs and Poes, exploring the depths is largely traveling from light route to light route. Each of the light routes illuminates a small area and it's a necessity to get them, but it also removes the coolest part of the area, the sheer black. There's also knots to do in between light routes. There's the occasional abandoned mine, boss, or enemy fort, but unless I was ready for a fight, I ignored everything to get to the next route. That all being said, the simple fact that Nintendo pulled it off, that there's a second landmass underneath the first, with no load times traveling between the two, is such an impressive feat, I have to give them immense credit for it. It's not my favorite thing to explore in this game, but it is still so fun to explore. And wouldn't you know it, I picked up a whole bunch of Poes. I have already forgotten about the statue from earlier. I didn't explore much in this first excavation, instead returning to Lookout Landing to meet our favorite new bird, Pen. I like Pen a lot. I miss Cass though. Now equipped with a glider, my next goal was to pick a direction and go. First heading towards the nearest tower, I begin to realize I might be punching a bit above my weight class. Blue bokoblins are tough, but I also realize I have a resilience that won't let me give up on a thing. I'm going to beat this guy and continue trekking. This immediately becomes an issue when I get to the tower and there are a whole lot of guys. And I die, and I die, and I die. But I don't give up, eventually reigning victorious and claiming the tower as my prize. From the Sky Island where I encountered my first fairy, I make my way to Breath of the Wild's tutorial island, the Great Plateau, which has apparently become infested with Yiga foot soldiers. They've even made a base in the Resurrection Chamber, those hooligans. I have a rough time with this battle. I am not equipped for these tough of enemies just yet, and to rub it in, after saving this defenseless construct, it tells me Link isn't ready for its reward and to go somewhere else first. Rude. The shrine I encountered on the Great Plateau was certainly a tough one. First, I had fun with box physics, but then just took so long trying to figure out the right way to stack these boxes together to get to the top. Finally, I eventually just cheated. Still counts. After exiting, I say goodbye to the fairies I just found and decide, yeah, I should probably go to an area I'm more equipped to face. And then just as quickly decide instead to fight more Yiga members that are still too strong for me. But after using the last of my fairies, I eventually come out on top. Picking another direction, I see a huge 3-headed fire-breathing dragon and go a different direction. Help out my best friend Addison with what I thought was a very clever solution, get really screwed out of a dragon scale, and then encounter what I now know as a rather infamous shrine. It starts out fine, just stick some things together and slide down, and then it doesn't go so well. As of yet, I still haven't learned how to rotate items. Still. And now it's actually starting to hurt. Literally. But something miraculous happens. I pick up a metal slab and I press the L button, and in an act of godly intervention, decide to press the D-pad. Hallelujah! After almost 10 hours of playtime, I have finally figured out one of the key mechanics of the game. Now this puzzle is actually solvable. Eventually. But this is just the start. Adding an incline makes this puzzle all the more difficult. but my tenacity won't let me leave until it's fully completed. And after many questionable attempts, something happens. My brain was able to piece it together, and I actually solved this puzzle in the intended way. And I'm rewarded with a, well, quite frankly boring roller coaster ride, but a satisfying one nonetheless. Continuing my journey, I rescue this guy to unlock another tower, and with a surprising level of forethought, I snap a photo of the text on this tablet. This won't come up again for weeks. And then my favorite unimportant NPC, Benny. She's great. She likes geoglyphs and dragons, and I don't know why. I just like her, okay? She seems cool. Alright? At this point, I'm nearing the end of my first day, but want to get a few more things done. Despite the butt kicking I received not too long ago, I opt to add more stamina to Link's stamina wheel, because I have my priorities straight. Then head towards the first of the 4 main quests. Along the way, I run into Impa, and instead of continuing her quest line and actually learning about the geoglyphs, I simply do not do that, instead attempting the weirdest solution to this shrine, repairing this kind woman's cart, and giving her a free horse because why not, before continuing onwards towards the first quest. And this marks the end of my first day playing The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. After getting the game at 10 in the morning, I got home and put in roughly 11 hours, and what a blast those 11 hours were. In the comments section, let me know how you spent your first hours exploring the land of Hyrule. And while you're down there, maybe leave this video a rating and subscribe if you'd like to hear more of my thoughts. To read more of my thoughts, you can find me on my social medias where I am at Mario8 everywhere. Links to each are in the description. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. But before I go, let's see another death montage.